Hello, fellow food lovers. Today I will be making Chinese spicy ground pork and deep fried green beans. It's a traditional Sichuan dish, and it's also called Four Seasons green beans. You will need half a pound of ground pork, 1 pound of green beans, 1 tablespoon of minced ginger, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of fava bean and chili sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay, so I have a piece of ginger there. I'm going to cut the skin off and I'm going to mince it. And you can also do a fine julienne for the ginger. Okay, I have 2 pieces of garlic here. I'm going to smash them with the side of the kitchen knife. I'm going to mince it. Okay, so I got a pound of green beans here. I'm going to actually cut the ends off. Usually people will break the tips off and kind of peel the fiber off the sides. I find it's just faster for me just to cut the ends off the green beans. So I'll separate them into small batches, and I'll line them up at one end and cut the tips off, and then I'll turn it around and line the other end up and cut the tips off as well. Like I said, I find this just works a little faster for me. Okay, so line one end up so the tips are lined up, cut the tips off, turn it around, and line the other end up and cut the tips off. There you go. I'll do that in small batches until I get all the beans done. Okay, so this is the last batch. Okay, I'm going to give the beans a wash. Make sure the grit's washed off, then I'm going to drain all the water. Because I'm deep frying these green beans, I want to make sure they're as dry as possible so I don't get a lot of oil splashing up at me when I drop the green beans into the deep oil. So I use a salad spinner. I'm going to put the beans in there. I'm going to spin it until I can get as much water out of the beans as possible. You want the beans as dry as you can get them before they put them into the oil. There you go. Okay, so I have the wok half filled with oil. It's on high heat. So it's been on high heat for about 5 minutes now. Okay, so usually I'll check the oil using a wooden chopstick. I'll dip it into the oil, and if it bubbles up, it means it's hot enough to deep fry with. You don't want to drop any food into a cold into cold oil when you're deep frying, because it won't fry for one thing, and it'll probably get oil logged basically. So I can put probably the entire pound of green beans into that one wok of oil. I'll be stirring it around to make sure that all the different areas of the green beans are well fried. So it'll probably take about 3-4 minutes for the beans to be done using the deep fry method. The way you can check is when you lift the beans up from the oil and have a look, the skin should be slightly wrinkled. That means that it's pretty much cooked. So yeah, the skin will have a bit of a wrinkled look to it when it's ready to come out. Okay, so probably 4 minutes have passed by now. The beans are pretty much done, so I'm going to take them out. You don't want to overcook the beans. You don't want them soft and mushy. If they're a little undercooked, if they're nice and crisp, that's a bonus. Yeah, so this is a Sichuan dish. Usually in Sichuan, they use a lot of oil in their cooking. Okay, so I recycle the oil for next time I deep fry in the wok. So I have this little oil container that I keep on top of the stove. It's a metal container. And I'll drain the oil through a sieve into that oil pot, and I'll keep the oil there for the next time that I have to deep fry in the wok again. Okay, so I washed the wok. It's on high heat. I added 2 tablespoons of cooking oil into the wok. So I'm going to add the ginger and the garlic. So I'll give that a stir. You probably just need to stir fry the ginger and the garlic for maybe 30 seconds on high heat. And then you can add the ground pork. So that's about half a pound of ground pork. So after maybe 2 minutes of stir frying the pork, I'm going to add some of the fava bean and chili paste. The Chinese name is doubanjian. It's a pretty classic Sichuan ingredient used in most of their cooking. It's made from chili beans and it's made from chilies and fava beans, and it's like a fermented paste. Okay, so I want to stir that paste in with the ground pork and continue stir frying it. You want to stir fry the paste when you're using it. It helps bring the flavor out. Okay, so a couple minutes have passed by. I'm going to add a tablespoon of soy sauce. And a teaspoon of sugar. Stir that up. Make sure all the seasonings are mixed in with the meat. So you want to make sure the meat's cooked, and then when the meat's cooked, you can add the beans to it. So you want to mix it up, make sure the meat's mixed in with the beans. So there isn't a gravy with this dish, it's pretty much a dry stir fry. So just make sure that the meat's well mixed in with the beans, and then it's ready to serve. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to dish it up. Okay, there you have it. That's called Four Seasons green beans. It's a spicy Sichuan dish, and it's got ground pork and deep fried green beans in it. And you can also use the Chinese long beans, and they're like a foot long. You have to just cut them into like 2 to 3 inch lengths, and you would deep fry those as well. So it's got a nice chili bean and fava flavor to it, as well as the ginger and the garlic. It's a very nice dish. And if you want it spicier, you can add more of the fava bean chili paste. Okay, bon appetit.